All right. Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. My name's Mark Bradley, and I've been with Flexera about 4 years, and I've been asked to cover for Nicholas on today's call. So I'll be your substitute teacher today, and I put together some content to get started in the ITAM SAM area, and um, hopefully this will meet the mark in what you're looking for. And any feedback, guidance as we move forward. I know that Nicholas had worked really hard to build an audience and have a cadence of these discussions, and so I'm excited to accept the challenge, and we'll take it from there. So what I put together today, when I talked with Nicholas, he was always impressed with some of the reporting capabilities that we had in a product called IT Visibility. And so what he had asked me to do was just do a couple of high level track record settings slides, and then a couple overview, and then demo the product and kind of show it from there. So hopefully that works for today's discussion. And again, always open to feedback and guidance. Know that I'm excited to be here. Know that I had worked with Nicholas at prior roles at prior companies, so I've known him for a long time, and we've been in the trenches in the battles many times. So I look at this as an honor and an opportunity to continue it going forward. So without further ado, the topic that I wanted to do today was unlock the power of IT visibility. Looking at it from a comprehensive guide, impact, and innovation. And so what I'll do is I'll go through some of the dashboards, reporting, and then I have a little secret one that I wanted to share, and it's getting onto the topic of sustainability and how ITAM can be the hero in the world of sustainability and reporting your carbon footprint. So I've been working on some dashboards and some insights, and I'm really excited to share it. I think it's going to really help the cause, if you will, as we go forward. So post any questions in the Q&A, and let's go. Let's see what we got here. All right. So let's again, Mark Bradley. I got my high school prom picture there. I'm a little bit older now. I got a beard, so I need to update that, but the graphics crew did a nice job with that one. All right. So today's agenda, we'll talk about the challenges of managing your IT estate. We'll talk about the importance of monitoring and addressing technical debt. And then we'll look at the insights into action with IT visibility. And we'll kind of take it from there. All right. The challenge of managing your IT estate. So I had to put a poll in there. So I wanted to put this in there, just kind of get an idea where people are at. So if you had a chance to, kind of rank your most significant concerns regarding your IT assets, and I believe the option it gave me was check the boxes that were important to you. So if you would mind, just click away on that, and then we'll see how the results came out as we go. All right, and the areas that I put were vulnerability, software sprawl. The idea that maybe you have a particular software version that has many, or a product that had many versions, and trying to keep up and maintain that. And then looking at life cycle, meaning when was the product launched, when is it supportable, when is it end of life, and then also when it gets monitored as obsolete. And then is open source of concern. So that was the other area. So I'll give a minute for that to unfold, and then we'll see how that turns out. And I have a slide that'll talk to it a little bit more, but I thought as a quick introduction within the first few minutes, put a poll, and we'll take it from there. All right, let me see if the demo gods will be good and see how that turns out. All right. Okay, so when we talk about clear visibility into the IT estate, one of the key areas that we tend to talk about is how we can take advantage of our ITAM data inside of the ITSM solutions, in particular CMDB. And what we're looking at here is, do you use the CMDB in your ITAM practice? And looking at some of the Flexera 1 State of the ITAM report, it looks like this statistic came back from last year in October. So it's showing about 78% said yes, and then 75% of organizations do not receive meaningful value from their CMDB investment. So I thought that was interesting. And I think this, I'll show you some opportunity where there's some things that Flexera can do to help improve your CMDBs. So I'll demo that a little bit as we come up. And then to the poll that we had a little bit earlier, maintaining the current trusted source for vulnerability, data is difficult to achieve. So within IT visibility, we do have enrichment packs. And those enrichment packs are vulnerability, lifecycle support, open source, and then hardware specifications. And so what we're looking at here is based on the Flexera State of IT Visibility report, these were the top 3. Top priority was in blue, and then the sum of the top 3 were listed. So interesting statistics, just kind of set the stage a little bit for our discussion today. All right, and then consequences of failing to address obsolescence. Again, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir. We all know that this is important information. We know that dealing with technical debt is never easy, and that when we have technical debt coupled with software vulnerabilities and compatibility issues, that just continues to impact our productivity and our efficiency. So again, just setting the stage. All right. So turning insight into action with IT visibility. So we look at 4 key areas when we think about IT management. The first is the technical debt and dealing with obsolescence and how we deal with that. And the goal being that we're trying to reduce it, but more importantly, we're trying to at least have coverage and understanding and a baseline. So as we work on our inventory, we scan our information, we collect it, and then once we have it in our presence, what do we do with it? How do we manage it, and how do we normalize it? The other part is this, what we call portfolio rationalization. As the company evolves and as purchases are made, a lot of times multiple technologies that solve the same problem are brought into the estate, and then how do we manage that? So being able to see that and being able to work with that. Within, as many of you probably worked with Technopedia, which is one of our key technologies within IT visibility, they have this concept called category, subcategory, both hardware and software. And by doing that classification, which again, I'll show you in the demo, doing that classification helps you as you manage your portfolio to be able to see it. What are all my BI tools? What are all my word processors? Or what are all my engineering application that solves X, Y, and Z? And being able to see that from a dashboard, from a report, and how can we manage that? And then one of the new capabilities that we brought over from data platform to IT visibility is vulnerability. So now I'll show you in the demo where we can see the estate from the 30,000 foot view, and then start to go deep into the portfolio, and then get all the way to the actual hardware device or virtual device, and see what software resides on it. And then within that software, which ones are vulnerable based on one of the acquisitions that Flexera had made was Secunia Research. And Secunia Research is a pretty powerful data set, pretty powerful team, and how that matches up. So I'm looking forward to showing you some of that. And then some processes. We do a lot of work in the ITAM world, And we want to make sure that there's fruits of our labor, so to speak, and being able to take our data and be able to put it inside the CMDB to help improve its quality. And then now with the CMDB, the impact is if you have good, clean data inside the CMDB, now you can actually solve the right problem. Imagine you're the help desk agent. It's your second day on the job. You're being asked to open a ticket. You click on new ticket, and then you start to go to the device. And then when you open it up, there's like 10 devices that say the exact same thing. And it's because, there was no normalization done. And now, you're freaking out. Which one do I pick? Because all 10 say the same exact thing. So working through the data quality so that when you open that ticket, open that problem, change, request, so on, you're actually solving the correct problem. So the next slide will be like, well, how do you do it? What's the secret sauce? What makes all that work? And it comes down to Technopedia. Technopedia is a product that Flexera had acquired from BD&A. I believe it was in 2017. And this Technopedia, 4.9 million hardware and software products. So you think about what our industry has done over the last 14 years in terms of hardware and software and mergers and acquisitions and, divestitures and all the craziness. And then understanding, Oracle, IBM, Microsoft, and all the crazy versions that they do. So that's where these numbers come from, 100,000 manufacturing, 250 million technology data points. We have within, we talked about life cycle a little bit. So that 4.7 million, I like to tease and say that the Technopedia, it has more dates than a dating app, because each line item in the portfolio has when it was launched, when it was in production, when it was end of support, end of life, obsolete, and then you can no longer get support. So there's 5 or 6 dates. And then we also added a couple more where if either the software or the hardware vendor did not provide those dates, we do what we call a calculated date. So lots of life cycle dates. And then the other key part is this 4,500 updates daily. So as we work with our customers, and I'll show you in a graph that, when we get our data, from your scans, and we have a process by which if we don't recognize it, you submit it to us. And then we do the work, do the research, and then next time we do a scan, it's part of your active inventory. So here we are. Let's go to the next here. So how do we do this? So within Flexera, we have what we call your raw data, the data that you send to us. It could be from multiple data sources. And what it does is it kind of brings it together in what we call the technology asset. And what we're pulling is the usage. We understand the risk. We understand the assets and the resources. And as we start to go through this normalization process, you're seeing these identification rules. One of the things that we've probably all seen is if you ever take a look at the data that's scanned in your environment, and you look at it, it's not very clean. It gives us enough information to tell us what those that piece of software is or what that hardware is, but then you can tell it's not fully spelled out. And so we recognize that, and that's what these identification rules, and then we're able to do some filtering, and we remove the duplicates. So then the next step is, now that we have good, beautiful, clean data that came from our scans, the next thing we do is this categorization. And this category, subcategory, we work with a lot of architects and large corporations, and you could get 2 of them in a room and they'll never agree 100% on category, subcategory. And so we kind of take the fight away from that. We say that we've already had these debates, so take a look at our category, subcategory, and then let's debate about the new things that haven't been categorized, and that saves a lot of time and effort. And then we talked about enrichment. So after the data has been categorized, and then we enrich it. And that's those content packs that we were talking about, open source, hardware specifications, vulnerability, and then we add this this life cycle support. And then now that we have this beautiful clean data, the next thing we're able to do within Flexera 1 is provide it so that you could either A, push it out to your CMDB, B, you could push it out and you know, maybe you're a Power BI shop, maybe you're a Cognos shop, maybe you're a Tableau, maybe you have a data lake. So we can feed that. And what I'll do today is I'll show you our product, the IT visibility and its dashboards. But the key parts to kind of walk away from is our ability to identify, our ability to enrich, and our ability to integrate. And then because of this good, clean, beautiful data, now we can do some amazing things. And that's where this is what we call the improved outcomes. You know, your IT asset requests are being able to be fulfilled. At the service steps, they're able to open the proper incident change request, event management, etc. So there's some pretty powerful capabilities here. All right, and let's see here real quick. I think let's do a demo. All right, so let's see if the demo gods are good to us today. So let me, I think this up here. There we go. And then I believe this is the right one. All right. I think we can see the board here. I know this is radio, so I can't really look out and ask, hey, can you see the board? I'm going to assume that you can. Or if you want to put something in the chat there that says, yes, we can see it, that'd be great. And then we can take it from here. So what I've done here is I've logged on to Flexera 1. And there's a section that we call, it starts with data collection. So how ITV works is you probably have multiple scanners in your environment. And what I'm showing here is hardware. And there's multiple scanners. There's the Flexera scanner, the ServiceNow, Flexera inventory. And the idea is that we scan these environments and then we collect and we have the evidence. And then in the hardware, it's pretty simple. You know, it looks and says, oh yeah, these are duplicate. Maybe two scanners found the same device. So it recognizes the thumbprint and then gives you this, you know, here's the consolidated review. And then when we go through Technopedia's normalization, if we recognize it, it goes straight to the activist state. But sometimes there's some things that we don't fully recognize, but we have enough information to determine that, yes, it belongs in the inventory. And then through our gap fill process, these can get cleaned up. And then so we would work with you on that. And then if there's some things that just doesn't make sense at all, we won't put it in. And so it gets ignored. And then software, a little more challenging. In the software world, we have, you know, the exact same scan that's happening, you know, from the different data sources. And then you have the evidence of the software. And then as you go through, we recognize it. And then these areas down here that are not quite recognized, you know, that falls into our gap fill process. But the key takeaway here is after we've cleaned up this data, we're able to remove this irrelevant. So that way, when the help desk technician's at the desk and he or she goes to open up that first ticket, you know, second day on the job, and they go, this is the data they're working with, this good, clean, beautiful data. All this irrelevant is out of the way. It's noise. And now they can open up the ticket in a proper device and then with the proper information, and then it proceeds from there. So yeah, this is where it starts. And then the next step is, well, okay, that's great. You have access to all this data, you've scanned it, you've cleaned it, you've normalized it, and then you've enriched it. What does that look like? And so here is IT Visibility's opening screen. Imagine you're looking at it from the 30,000 foot view. You know, you're kind of flying over the IT estate, and what we do is we provide this what we call the executive summary, and it has a lock on it which tells you this is a dashboard that Flexera maintains and builds for you as you know, the art of the possible, if you will. And then at any time, as a IT visibility, you could do a save as new. And then as a save as new, you're able to take this dashboard and make it your own, knowing that, we're not going to impact that. And then the next part gets into the filters. I talked about category, subcategory. So here I'm looking at hardware, computers, mobile phones, storage devices, etc. And then the subcategories. And then we look at, manufacturers. And then in this, we start to look at the software categories. And then we also have where you can contextualize this data. We have a data mashup where we can start to blend what does this all mean, which groups does it belong to, et cetera. And then so the idea here is some quick KPIs across the top. Here's our hardware portfolio, looking at manufacturers, products, models, device count, how many are virtual, and then how many are obsolete. And then same with the software. And as you kind of go through products, versions, installation, end of life, obsolete. And as you scroll down, now you can start to have this visual of, here's my software installations based on currency. We talked about life cycle, obsolete, general availability, end of life. And then if they didn't publish one, and then same with the hardware. And as you continue to go down, we're trying to give you the percentages. We know that every environment's a little different. We know that executives like to look at it from a percentages point of view because they don't know, is it good, is it bad? And then so we give them the currency and then color coordinating it to kind of give you an idea. And so what we're looking at is that category, and then here's the categories, and then it's giving you the risk. And then across to the side is how many devices were impacted, based on each of these categories. We continue to cruise down a little bit. It's broken down by device type. So here's your desktops, hubs and switches, notebooks, servers. And then what we're showing is kind of giving you that stacked life cycle. What does my estate look like? And as we continue looking at it from, similar view. And then now we're looking, as I continue to go down, it's just rich information by business unit, by business service, by location, and then cost centers. So we really start to look at the information. Here it's shown it by domain. It's been interesting. We've worked with some customers that were doing mergers and acquisitions, and there was these hidden domains that we were able to find. And that people are like, whoa, where'd that come from? And there's all kinds of hardware in there, and it's it's a risk because it's obsolete, end of life, could be vulnerability, could be a honeypot. So this has been pretty interesting. So that's the 1,000-foot view. Anything that's I'll show you a couple things here before we jump in. Each one of these KPIs or reports, you have the ability to have this little 3 dots. And within these 3 dots, you can explore from here, which we'll do here in a second. But you can also kick it out to Excel or CSV, or you could schedule an export. So let's say that you really like this report, and every week or every month, you have to send an individual a particular report. You can schedule it. And so it puts it from who the person you want it to go to. This will automatically update based on which report it was. In this case, we're sending it as a CSV file. And then from the occurrences, you can say, I need to send that weekly on a Wednesday, monthly, and then I can do a custom at this time based on this time zone. And then it just sends it. You'll see it in their email every week, on time, every time. And because we're updating in the background from what we showed in the prior screens, it's just a game changer. We see this, many people that we've worked with, saving 40 hours a month because of, it's like the beginning of the month, you start gathering all this data. Middle of the month, you're kind of presenting it to your manager. And then at the end of the month is crunch time, and we're trying to produce all these reports and get them out. And then it's a rinse, lather, repeat 12 times a year. But now that you can automate some of that, schedule it, now you can actually work on net new things that are game changing as opposed to doing that during the off hours. So let's take a look at, I'll grab this one. So we'll do explore from here. Now, what this allows us to do is for those that are familiar with, say, Power BI or Tableau, or any of the report writers, on the left here is your data, and each one of these could be a table. And then when you drop down into them, so I'll go with, like, say, inventory hardware, so I can see my calculations, and then I can also see, just hovering over what my values look like for each field. So as I go to build a report, I'm like, well, I wasn't sure, is it evidence or is it manufacturer I wanted? You can kind of go through and see this information, and then it's merely dragging and dropping. So here's the metrics area, here's the rows, and then across the top you can set filters, based on what you want that report to show. And then as you're dragging and dropping and building, you can see the information as you're building it. And then because we clicked on it, it gives us a clean slate, says, okay, here's that report. And then you can put a new name in there, save it, and then either A, bring it back to the dashboard, or B, you can set it up so that as you drill into dashboards, this would be the insight report that could come up. So pretty powerful. You can also take the report, kick it out to Excel. And there's a lot of goodness inside here, but I'll move on and show you some other ideas here. All right, let's see here. Let's pick something here. I didn't script anything. Let's take a look at, say, let's look at some hardware, and let's look at, say, hardware models. So as you're seeing, I have the arrow, and if I click on it, it lets me know that I can drill into it. And so now, because I clicked on hardware, it took me to this portfolio overview hardware. And now it's really giving me more statistics about the hardware. We're seeing these KPIs. We're seeing the life cycle stages. All looks like 34% is generally available. Looks like 21% of our hardware estate is end of sale. Obsolete, meaning you can't buy it anymore. Looks like we have some virtual devices. And then we have some vendors that we don't have the published life cycle. For whatever reason, they haven't published it, and we're still looking for it. And then now we're looking at category, subcategory. Here's the manufacturer. How many products do we have from that manufacturer? How many different models? And then the number of devices. And then it starts to look at some ratios. So some pretty rich information there. This is one of those love-hates. When you talk about a tree chart, either you love them or you hate them. But the idea is that each box represents, so in this case, we're looking at servers, and it's the power edge. So we have 64 servers, and of those 64 servers, 43 of them are this power edge. And so you can click into this and see, well, okay, what does that look like? And so now I'm looking at this drill hardware model, and you can see it filtered it for me. So up here it says power edge. And so now I can look at my power edges. So 209 devices. And as I scroll through, I can tell which years we had some obsolete. So it looks like, dates back to 2011. And then we can forecast in the future that, in the next quarter, 2023 or next year, that we have some coming up that are about to be obsolete. So the idea here is that you're doing your forecast here at the end of the year. You can start to predict a little bit, and you can get some budget set aside to address this in your favor. And then so now these are the computers, these are the models, and then here's its life cycle, and then how many devices are fitting this criteria. So how many M630s do I have that were generally available in 2014? And then, there's 12 of them. So let's take a look at the 12. So I click on that. And now I'm looking at drilling into device deployment. So it looks like it got a little squirrely there. These are the 12 devices. And then if I want to see what's on that device, let's click on that. And so now I'm looking at, okay, here's a device. Not sure why that tightened up on me, but here's the power edge. And this is pretty much 100% obsolete. So probably not a great example, but you can kind of see. And then whatever software is on that device. But it looks like this one wasn't a good example. Let me see if I can find a better one. And let's cruise down. Let's try this one. I'll grab a couple of them, see what happens here. All right, so here's a couple of devices that I picked. You can see serial number, last logged in, department, etc. This is the operating system, 2016, it's end of life. And then I can see, looks like my software information. And then this is the software that's on those devices, category, subcategory, application. I can see there's a lot of obsolete that's installed on it. And then I can also see, based on that device, the vulnerabilities. So it looks like this device, and again, I just picked it randomly. This device, IBM WebSphere, has multiple vulnerabilities. And this is the SAID, so you can research it. And then it's telling you whether it's the criticality, when that was released. Looks like it's been a while, so it's no longer a 0 day. 0 day is, we know there's a virus out there, there's a vulnerability out there, but we don't have enough information yet, but we know about it. So that's considered 0 day until they do the research. And then coming soon on that same device will be a section down here that'll show you the carbon footprint. You know, how much power and how much carbon is being produced by that particular device as we go forward. So let's go ahead and jump into that. So I'm going to change here. On the left here, we have a number of, as you're drilling in those dashboards. So if you don't want to start from the top, you want to go direct, so we have hardware, software, virtual environments. This was important. We had a number of customers that said, can you just give me a dashboard with my virtual environment so that I can kind of maintain that. So this is showing you 69 virtual, and then it's also breaking it down by Citrix and whatnot. And as you cruise in, it's giving you the same information, but just filtered based on virtual. So a lot of powerful information here. And then giving you manufacturer products, versions, installs, end of life, obsolete. So a lot of rich information. Just keeps going. And then still with the breakdown on department, business service, domains, etc. So yeah, so that's the portfolio overview. We have what we call business context, so that you can look at this through a business lens. Software vulnerability enrichment sits in there. Let's click on that and take a look at that real quick. So this, the idea behind here was across my entire estate, what does it look like from a vulnerability perspective? So I'm seeing, applications with advisories, installations with advisories, and it just keeps going all the way through, even to the 0 day. And you can see I can drill into any one of these. As I look across, some people like the numbers, and some people like the eye candy. So here's a chart to kind of show it. These are the critical ones, extremely critical. We need to dive into these, get these under control. It's hard to do everything, but if I can stack rank it for you, then it makes it a little bit easier. We're also seeing where ITAM is moving closer and closer to security. We have a number of customers where ITAM is a part of, they report to the CISO. So we're finding that to be pretty interesting. All right. So yeah, so some great information there. So we looked at that business context, the drill downs. We saw these as we were clicking and working our way down. It was taking us to dashboards that were prepped based on what you clicked on. We have some governance sites, some governance metrics. And then we have this concept called insight to action. I mean, it's a beautiful thing to have all this beautiful data. But then what do you do about it? And so the use case here is the first one we did with Admin Studio, which is a pretty popular product that we've used over the years. And the idea is that, okay, I've run this report. This is all my obsolete software. and I want to do something about it. And so you can click on this, what we call request update. And what it does is it takes a look at that record. And in this case, we're able to send and open up a request inside of Admin Studio so that the Admin Studio workflow can see this request and then begin its process. Coming soon, we're doing this for ServiceNow. So maybe you're opening up a request or an incident, depending on how your processes are. And the idea is to feed the workflow with this great information to help trigger events. And so when I click send, basically it goes, in this case, it's a virtual tunnel because we know Admin Studio is on-prem, and it'll validate, give a confirmation number, and then you'll be able to track it on the Admin Studio side as it goes forward. So pretty cool capability there. All right, so we covered insight to action, normalization. This is, a lot of times, people say, okay, this is all beautiful data, but talk to me about how the normalization process looks like. What is it that you're seeing? Can I trust this data? And so we continue to improve on this, but we're giving you some statistics about what we're seeing about the data that comes across. Sometimes it's our challenge. Sometimes, maybe the scanner, the beacon isn't quite tuned just right to get us the info we need. And so this helps us understand that. All right, we're working our way down here. Let's take a look at sustainability. So I'm super excited about sustainability. I've been working on it for a while, and I really feel like ITAM can play a critical role, and you can be the hero in this situation. We have a presentation that we do, and it talks about, what's all the buzzwords. You hear things like scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. What does that mean? Where'd that come from? It came from a group called greenhouse gases. And scope 1 is you're the manufacturer, you're producing product. And so any carbon that you create because you're producing it, that falls into scope 1. Scope 2 is I needed to purchase electricity. I need to purchase fuel. I need to purchase something in order for me to fulfill my obligations in scope 1. So that's kind of where scope 2 comes in. And then scope 3, that's everyone. That's the ecosystem. That's your value chain. That's your supply chain, anything that you're doing. So Flexera in this case would be your scope 3. So if you're using Flexera 1 and it's time for you to do a report, and they're going to say, okay, tell us about your scope 3. And then Flexera would provide to you, here's our carbon footprint to host your infrastructure to support your implementation. So that's kind of where it fits in. And then they have this total score that kind of fits here. Now, the other thing that's kind of interesting is that when you look at each of the hardware devices, all of them come with this total. And what am I talking about? If you go to, say, let's go to Apple, com/environment. And within here, you have the Apple environment. It talks about, all the great products. And as you cruise down a little bit, this is good, this is good. Keep cruising, keep cruising. Of course, it's all to the bottom. Boom. Here it is. So this part here, which says design with Earth in mind, and then these PDF files. Each of these PDF files has that information. That's scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. But more importantly, it has, so let's pick a laptop. Let's go with the MacBook 16-inch, and then we'll click on that. And then in this PDF file, there's all kinds of information about how this device was manufactured. This is all great stuff. It's Energy Star compliant, it's EPEAT. So we've captured this. So we know that these devices are Energy Star compliant, EPEAT compliant. And then as we cruise down, the goodness actually comes into the footnotes. So I'm cruising down. I know the screen's probably a little slow, but I'm trying to get to the area here. It's this right here. So we're capturing the kilowatts per hour. We know that for the 16-inch MacBook, it sits here. So we capture this number. And it's very similar to, how when you buy appliances and they have that yellow sticker on the appliance and it tells you how many watts per year, if it's plugged in 24/7. And then you'll soon see another number on there that says, here's your carbon footprint for having that, refrigerator running 24/7. So that's kind of where this is. And if you go all the way to the bottom here, it's all in the footnotes. There's a lot of, here's your EPEAT, here's your IEEE, and then here's your real core. So 300 kilograms of carbon, but based on each implementation, it's a little bit different, so the more RAM, so on and so forth. So this is where we dig into this area, get all these, numbers that are necessary, the watts, etc. And then we come back to here. Now, because we have this, now we can show you your estate. So here's your computers, notebooks, laptops, and you're seeing your total carbon and then number of devices. And so as you scroll down a little bit more, we're looking at things like top 10 servers. And then we can see Energy Star compliant. PUE stands for power utilization. And then here's your kilograms of CO2, and here's your kilowatts for all those devices. And then scroll and you see the scopes 1, 2, and 3 in total. And as we scroll down, we're giving you more of this rich information that hopefully, as your company gets ready to report its carbon, you'll have the info you need. So I created several reports with it, breaking it down by category, subcategory, devices, what your life cycle look like, and then continue down. Here's your baseline. And then I also put together a report at the bottom that says, hey, based on the info above, these devices still need their information. So you can kick this out to Excel, email it to us, and then we go and do the research to get that information. Very similar to how I walked you through that, and then bring that together. Yeah, and then a quick sneak peek. I think I still have a couple minutes, and then I'll get right to the questions here. It looks like I have some great questions. We also are looking at this in the cloud. So the idea is that, here's your cloud spend, on-prem, SaaS, hardware, and then the CO2. So you click on the CO2, and then we're showing here your carbon emissions from AWS. So these are all the data centers that you're located. Across the bottom is per month, and then the sum of your CO2. And then as you kind of hover it, it's giving you that info. You could drill in and see more detail. And of course, we have the map because each data center location, some are more dense than others, and some data centers have more, either it's wind power or solar that they're able to mix into it. So that's AWS. I know more is to come on their part. And then here's Azure. So Azure is broken down. They've accepted the concepts of scopes 1, 2, and 3, and average. You're seeing the same thing here based on data centers. But more importantly, you're seeing, okay, here's Microsoft 365, and then here's my utilization. And because it's in a green data center, it can give me an interesting score there for my carbon. As I cruise down, you can see by data center locations. Continue to cruise down. Here's my emission details. And then here's the really important one, because scope 3 is so hard to report, and they're giving us a report that has it broken down by month, scopes 1, 2, 3. So pretty interesting, all good stuff. So let's, all right, I covered that. Let's take a look at the questions. All right, see if I can cruise in here. ITViz documentation only shows accepting inventory data to work on. Does it also read Flexera 1 asset data for Cisco equipment? So we do, as you probably saw in the demo here, we do have Cisco equipment in there, and we have ways of bringing that information in. So I can work with you on that. And then you saw also that we had quite a bit. One of our customers is Cisco, And we've been working with them to capture, very similar to the PDF you saw from Apple. They have some sites that have that carbon footprint, and I'm able to get that information and run that. So I think that's a good start there. Good, great question. Let's see what the other questions are. We use Intune to manage mobile phones. How do you get mobile phones into Flexera? So right now, Intune is for ITV. It's on our roadmap, but we do know that Intune is part of ITAM and FNMS. They use Intune today. We're working on bringing more inventory from it. So more to come, and mobile is a part of it. We recognize now that Intune has come a long way from where it was, and it's able to provide the information we need to be successful. So we continue to work on that. Great questions coming in. Flexera One with on-prem license or cloud-based? Stephanie, I think you're asking me if you're on-prem today, can I have access to this in the cloud? I'm not positive exactly what you're asking, but I can definitely take it offline, and we can work through that, talk through that. What is beta telling us on the vulnerability report? Is it available now? Vulnerability is available now. We launched that. Basically, you work with your sales rep to turn it on, and then we turn it on. This report, I have access to an early environment that hasn't been updated, but vulnerability, it's Sequoia research. What I was showing you there, and there's some new dashboards that are in the works. I was just looking at them last night. Super excited on the vulnerability. We believe that's game changing, and it shows how close security and ITAM are getting. Great question there. So we talked about the documentation. We talked about Intune. What is beta telling us? I talked about that. And then, all right, are there more questions? All right. So I didn't want to take too long. This is our first, I feel like the substitute teacher coming in. I'm not sure how the, prior sessions went. Feedback, guidance, was this interesting? Is there some other areas that you would like for me to delve into? I'm excited to talk with you, work with you. I think, like-minded individuals, we don't get a chance to talk about this stuff at home. Our friends and family look at us a little strange when we start talking ITAM, but I love talking about it. So let's keep the dialogue going, and we'll take it from there. We'll, same bat time, same bat channel. We'll set it up for another round and see where it takes us. So with that, I open it one more time, see if there's any more questions. Looks like I covered the ones that we got. I should have probably let me see if I put anything on, let me stop sharing, see if I put anything on the slides. You have contact information for me. Let me look at it here. Just flipping through. There we go. Oh, here we go. This is, I don't know if you can see this. This is, if you wanted some more analysis on, analysis on IT visibility, if you want to do a proof of concept, if you're really interested, we'd be excited to work with you. Scan this with your phone, and we could trigger a dialogue. And then, yes, I'm available to chat and share ideas and learn. And my emails, I think it's pretty simple. It's mbradley, all one word, @flexera.com. Great. All right, so I think we covered it all. Again, we'll catch up again. Any feedback, love it, and we'll take it from there. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate your time. Hopefully you found this insightful, and looking forward to our next discussion. Have a great day.